Thank you. I'm going to see if I can stay out of this glare of the sun, so if I'm squinting, that's why. It's been a really interesting morning so far. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to try and balance that off a little bit with a little corporate speak for you. So I know it won't be as interesting, but I'll try and do my best. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Broadcom as a company. As Tom mentioned a little earlier, not a lot of people know who Broadcom is because we embed ourselves into several different solutions and we kind of hide behind several different partnerships. So I'll tell you a little bit about Broadcom, and then I'll talk a little bit about how we think Broadcom can help modernize your IT infrastructure as well. Okay, so who are we? So we're about a $20 billion company, US-based company, really laser focused on innovation. And we've got 75% of our 16,000 employees are engineers. That's resulted in one of the strongest patent portfolios in the industry. And the company is structured very, very uniquely. We're structured as these franchises or business units. So there's 20 of them. Brocade's one, Emulex is one, and so on. And these business units don't rely on each other for success. In fact, they are built to stand on their own. So they're managed independently, they're measured independently, and it's a very, very unique structure. And what that does is it just provides each of these business units with the unique sense of focus to deliver the best products to our customers. And I know coming over, I'm 19 years with Brocade, coming over from the acquisition, and I can tell you that the focus we have now as part of Broadcom is incredibly increased versus where we were as we were just independently Brocade. So, as I mentioned, we're a US-based company with American innovation heritage. It all started with HP spinning off Agilent, which became Avago, and then acquisitions of LSI, of Broadcom, of Emulex, and of Brocade, and several others. Takes us to where we are today. So our company has evolved over time. And I would just say that the market definition of how we go about around defining requirements has evolved as well. So a semiconductor company, you think, well, how does a semiconductor company decide how to build product? Well, typically what they did in the past is they went to their OEM partners and their ODM customers and said, what do you think we should build? And you as a customer would then take that and consume that, and you didn't really have a lot of input. And that's changed over time. And what's happened is, as IT kind of transferred from solely a cost center into really an area of the business where people are leveraging for strategic business advantage, that decision-making criteria now, those people, end user customers, have started to tell Broadcom and other semiconductor companies what they should build. So it's a very unique kind of dynamic, and it's really changed how we interact with customers. The Brocade acquisition has brought Broadcom closer to customers. The impending CA acquisition that's just a few weeks away, I think will take us even closer to customers. So you'll start seeing and hearing much more about us. So when Tom says you don't know a lot about Broadcom, you're not alone. You're going to know a lot about us in the next short while. And customers want to talk to us because we're kind of embedded everywhere. It's a very, very broad portfolio of products. And I'll talk more about the data center products, the enterprise storage products, and the networking products in a little bit. But you're probably using Broadcom technology, not just in your business life, but in your personal life as well. So whether it's home broadband or automotive applications, or certainly in the mobile space. In the mobile space, we have wireless charging technology, we have touch technology, we have force touch technology, we have filtering technology, we've got Bluetooth technology, Wi-Fi technology, GPS technology. Pretty much almost every chip you find in your high-end smartphone is probably a Broadcom chip, okay, of some sort. So when you step back and you look at it, this is really powerful for us because no one customer, no one industry segment is going to determine the success or failure of the company. So we think it's pretty powerful. And if you dig down further into the data center side of things, if you're running an Ethernet switch, which you all are in your data centers, that Ethernet switch, 99 times out of 100, is probably running a Broadcom silicon. So it doesn't matter whether it's an Arista switch or a Cisco switch or a Juniper switch, they're all running Broadcom silicon. That Ethernet switch is connected to your servers, probably connected to a Broadcom NIC adapter that's sitting in your server. That Broadcom NIC adapter, if it's a Broadcom NIC adapter and an Ethernet switch driven by Broadcom silicon, turns out you can actually drive 30% longer cables in your data center because of the common SerDes between the two product lines. Kind of cool. That server also has industry-leading Emulex HBA in it. That HPA adapter connects to your Brocade fiber channel switch, and there's lots of integration between those two companies as well. You'll hear a little bit more about that, and she talked to the team outside as well. But both automation and management capabilities were integrated between those two dynamics. You go down to the storage array, and we're building RAID and I/O controllers in the storage array as well. So throughout your data center, if you look at this and you look at the different partners that we've got, partnerships we've got across that are embedding our solutions into their solutions, it gives us a very unique perspective. When someone comes to us and says, hey, how do you think we should build a data center? It's really different coming to us than any one of our partnerships. We've got a very different perspective on how we would go about it, what we see coming down in the future. And the customers are interested in this. They really want to know what's coming down the line from a semiconductor standpoint, not just a product standpoint. You dig down one more layer into the Brocade side of things. This is what we're focused on at Brocade. So there's three key areas where we're investing our innovation and our engineering resources. The first is storage modernization. So storage modernization for us is really taking a look at the accelerated adoption of flash, and of course NVMe is coming down the line as well. So how does that change what we do? Well, it turns out that our OEM partnerships become more and more critical to work very closely with the IBMs, the HPs, the Dells, the Hitachis, the NetApps, you name it. Everyone who has server or storage technology, resells our product line and integrates our product line. But it turns out that, in the past, with spinning disks, it took 3 or 4 years to kind of do product turns. Now it's with flash, it's 18 months. Every 18 months, we've got to keep up. And the type of applications that you can now run using flash and NVMe have changed as well. So there's an enormous amount of innovation and engineering going into just making sure those partnerships with those OEMs are optimized so that we're keeping up. The second area is automation. Turns out that, unfortunately, human error continues to be the main culprit around problems in the data center, and automation is meant to get rid of some of those, right? Eliminate some of the repetitive tasks that you have to go and drive, and also help you provision applications more effectively. And Dave's got a separate session. We'll talk a lot about automation later in the day. Last area is analytics. And analytics is really around us driving engineering and innovation, not just in standalone products, which we have for our high-end customers, but also what just comes with the product for free. What's embedded into our chipsets that allows you to do analytics. And when we talk about analytics, we're not just talking about diagnosing a problem that's already happened. We're talking about hopefully proactively seeing the problem before it occurs and providing technology that allows you to prevent those situations from ever occurring. So those are the three areas that we're working on primarily with Brocade. I think I'm actually going to be on time, which is really good, so we'll get through this. When I step back and I travel around the world and I talk to customers, it's amazing. It doesn't matter if it's a web-scale customer, a bank, a government institution, a manufacturing company. They all use our technology. And in the end, they all are dealing with the same issues and telling me the same things across industries, across countries, across geographies. It doesn't matter. These things are happening in every single one of my customers. And it's interesting, all of these things are driving customers to modernize their networks with Fibre Channel, this legacy technology. So when you think modern and you think Fibre Channel, you think, oh, Fibre Channel is this legacy technology, let's do something new. Turns out that all these trends are driving people back to Fibre Channel. So let me take you through them a little bit real quickly. So storage capacity and access. We all know that the external storage marketplace is exploding, right? Everyone's buying more storage. They don't know how to get rid of it. But it's not just the actual capacity, it's the access as well. It turns out that with data analytics and increased service modalities, basically customers are developing applications that require access to common data sets. And if you require access to common data sets, you need a shared storage infrastructure. If you need a shared storage infrastructure, you're probably buying Fibre Channel technology because that's what Fibre Channel technology does. So not just a whole bunch more storage going into the marketplace, it's what type of storage and what access that storage it requires is really driving the Fibre Channel adoption. Secondly, and you'll hear a lot about this from Flash, and AJ will come up afterwards, but if you look at Flash technology, it's interesting. The data or the bottleneck that's occurred, right? It used to be in the past, customers would go forward and it was hard to justify a performance bump in Fibre Channel. I've been here for a long time, so I was here for 2 gig with AJ, 2 gig to 4 gig, 4 gig to 8, 8 to 16, now 32, and we're going to move to 64 soon. And you go to customers and you say, oh, you should really upgrade your networks. And they go, why? I'm running 1 gig servers and I'm running this storage stuff. Now, with flash, the bottleneck has moved from that storage array to the network. So everyone's spending all this great money on flash technology, and it's a complete waste of, I wouldn't say a complete waste of money, but it's really tough to justify your investment if you're not also upgrading your fiber channel network. And it turns out that if you're running flash, 80% of the time you're connected to fiber channel network, we're seeing the benefits of flash adoption. So our business is also growing because of flash adoption. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say almost every single one of my largest customers has come to me and say, you know, Regan, we're trying to get off of fiber channel. I go, why? I said, well, it's expensive. I said, well, how's it working for you? Perfectly. I don't have any issues with fiber channel. It's the most reliable piece of my network. Fantastic. Great business decision. Right? But in the end, everybody likes the bright, shiny toy. I like hyper-converged. I like software-defined. I like converged. I like, you name it, right? Maybe I like iSCSI. And I said, okay, it was 4 years ago, and I never forget, Martin Skagen and I would talk to these customers. You look and they say, how about it? Give it a try. And here's what happened, right? 2 things happened. Number one, it's not that these solutions are bad. There's nothing wrong with any of these solutions on their own, right? And in their own situations with certain applications, they'll work fine. But mission-critical block storage, database-type applications are built to run on a fiber channel network. When they tried to move them off, 2 things happened. One, scalability issues occurred immediately. Applications just broke, right? They just didn't work properly in legacy applications, didn't work properly moving to these different architectures. But secondly, and I think more interestingly, what people didn't anticipate is that when they tried to move off of fiber channel is purpose-built for storage. It's a lossless, low latency, deterministic network. So it's built to deal with the bursty storage traffic that we see in architectures. And what happened is they stuck something on an IP network, and none of the tools were there to manage the storage and the data. Someone said earlier today that their most valuable asset is their data. Well, so let's take that and put it on the cheapest thing you can find. How does that make any sense, right? So I don't know if fiber channel is more expensive or it's not when you do the real math, right? But I'm telling you right now, it doesn't work in all situations. And that's what's happened. Customers have come back. They've done their testing. They did their pilot test. It didn't work. They had pent-up demand, and they're driving more fiber channel business our way. And I heard a lot about cloud this morning. So interesting. IDC just did a report, and it turns out that 80% of customers in the world, the enterprise customers that they interviewed, have a decision to repatriate public cloud back on-prem or to private clouds. 80% of customers. And no surprise to me, every single customer I talk to, they have a cloud-first strategy. Everyone talks about their cloud-first strategy. I think it's cloud second or third now, right, in the enterprise at least. And 2 things happened, right? Number one, it turned out that it was a heck of a lot more complex to manage a hybrid cloud environment than everyone thought it was, right? It's not simple. And then secondly, it's a lot more expensive than anyone anticipated. And I'm talking about public cloud here, a lot more. And you talk about these rogue things and what happened, and then when people started adding up their bills, Amazon doesn't make it very easy for you to add up your bill, right? So once you add up your bill, people looked at it and said, we're getting pretty smart internally here. I think we can do this on our own. 80% of people are repatriating public cloud back on-prem. It doesn't mean they're not building a private cloud internally, but it's different. So all these things have driven 25% growth in our business over the last year in this dying legacy business in fiber channel. Why? Because it just works. And in the end, when you look past that, none of this really matters because in the end, everyone's main priority in life is security, right? And here more than ever in this marketplace. And we kind of look at it and we've invested an enormous amount of time and energy on security, but when customers looked at it as well, they kind of said, well, fiber channel inherently, right? Beyond all the technology we put into our architecture for security, fiber channel inherently allows you to isolate and encrypt your mission-critical data on a separate network from your general purpose IP network. Right? Inherently, it is more secure. Inherently, you're not going to get hacked as much on a fiber channel SAN as on an IP SAN. That's just math. Right? So all of these different things, all of these trends across the board, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what kind of architecture you're driving. All of these things are driving people back to modernizing their architecture with the legacy fiber channel architecture. We've all been here a long time. I'm old, right? I'm old. I've been doing this for a long, long time. and everybody, all the vendors are really good at hyping things up, right? We all get there, we have our great PowerPoint presentations, and it doesn't matter whether it's FCOE or this or that. All these different technologies we've seen over time, we sell you on these things because we can make money to do so, right? Be careful, right? Be careful. Think about what works for you. Fiber channel just tends to work, so that's what's driving really our business. And the good news is, it's not just us saying it. Gartner also is basically saying, moving forward, your mission-critical data is going to be running on fiber channel for the foreseeable future. Doesn't mean there's not a good spot for all those different technologies to go drive forward. There's a spot for cloud. There's a spot for iSCSI. There's a spot for hyperconverged technology. There is. But be thoughtful about what applications you're moving and when you're moving them. Be thoughtful about your decision-making process. Don't be penny wise, pound foolish. There are places for every architecture to work extremely well. And thankfully for us, we've been successful bringing people back on board that actually came back to us without even trying. So thank you for your time. I think I'm on time. I appreciate it. And I think AJ's up next with a flash overview. Okay, thank you.